Your concerns were that it was falling out. Well, if you notice, all that's holding this is one base and one side. Why does it not fall out? It has to be something in the way you're using it. I will go on to show you how to use the filler in a few minutes. I also want to show you a few other things. On this board, I've taken and we've actually filled those 2 points. If you notice, it is smooth, it does not shrink, it doesn't sink and doesn't crack or doesn't fall out, as I said to you before. Sealer over it. It doesn't matter what you use, and you can put any kind of top coat. If you look at it, and perfect. Up at the top, I have not done anything. I have not used any filler, I've done nothing. As you can see, it shows the cracks and shows all the open grain. So, looking at it, using Timbermate and not using Timbermate. So, as far as it falling out, I want to show you one further feature as well, and we'll look at a floor. Right, here is screwed them together and we fill the floor. Okay, now what I've done over here is to show you, there are the grooves. That's the groove that we have not filled, and there across the way. So just to show you that no matter how you fill the gap, it doesn't fall out. So really your concerns are not only is Timbermate a wood putty, it is also an edge filler, end grain filler, sanding sealer and grain filler all in one. Very, very easy to use. Let me show you how easy it is to make a grain filler. Take your putty, take some putty out of the container and put it just into a little container to mix. Don't worry if you take too much putty. If you use too much, let it dry out and we'll put it back in the container afterwards. Put the container and now add some water. The best way is to use warm water or hot water, because by adding the water it will soften the putty very, very much easier. I now take my putty, and as you can see, once I've mixed it all in, it now looks almost like toothpaste. It's very easy to use, and all I do is take a cloth, preferably a cotton cloth, take my grain filler, and what I'm now going to do is I'm now going to grain fill my piece of wood. So there's my piece of wood, there's my grain filler, and over the grain we go. Very easily, just cover the grain, go against the grain, and now leave that to dry. It'll take a few minutes to dry, but you can also take it with a heat gun or warm up the environment and it will dry very, very quickly. So that's what I get. I now end up, when it dries very, very white. And by the way, whenever you're using it as a grain filler, don't worry about the colour it dries. Grain filler will always dry lighter, but sands off very easily. All we will now do is we'll show you how easy it is to sand. Take the sandpaper, and all we now do is sand. So we sand off our putty, and as you can see from here, how nice and smooth it is after I've sanded it. If you also notice, you'll see all the colours of where the grain filler has filled. I've deliberately used a different colour. If I'm going to stain, always use natural. Natural's got no colour in it, and as you can see, it'll highlight what we've done, and we'll add stain afterwards. But before I sanded it off, when the putty dried, this rough section over here is your sanding sealer. So it is not necessary to go and use a sanding sealer afterwards. So I've sanded it down, and now all I am ready to prepare.
I'll just fill up cracked Timbermate filler. For better application, you can add some water to it, so it's not as thick, and pretty much just apply the paint. And fill the ring. Just push it in as much as you can in the neck cracks. After applying patch, let it dry for a very light color, and then ready to